In 2011, chef Robert Irvine took on a unique assignment when he was challenged to step out of his familiar restaurant environment and turn his attention to St. James Soup Kitchen in Newark, New Jersey. Run by Executive Director Vesta Godwin Clark, the St. James Social Service Corporation is a non-profit social outreach ministry supporting more than 30,000 local people. As part of its assistance program, the Soup Kitchen is open to the hungry and homeless and is now one of the largest food providers in the city, feeding 150 people each day. With aging, broken equipment, lack of refrigeration and freezers, and limited funding during a recession, running this busy kitchen is no easy job. Bring in 80-year-old Miss Georgianna Loney-Wilson, a fearless volunteer chef with a huge heart, and a strong desire to give visitors a warm and welcoming experience along with a hot plate of food, 5 days a week. When Chef Irvine arrives, he immediately notices that the building housing the soup kitchen is clearly in need of urgent attention. Vesta explains that a fire 6 months ago resulted in extensive heat and water damage, though thankfully no one was hurt. Vesta tells Robert that the soup kitchen is the only program locally feeding the hungry, as most others have closed due to lack of funding. If it was forced to close its doors, the hungry would have nowhere else to go. Describing it as his biggest challenge to date, the chef admits that he's never walked into a more dire situation or tackled a more deserving location. Keen to get started, Chef Irvine heads downstairs to the kitchen to meet Miss Georgianna. He finds her at the stove preparing lunch, despite having a cast on her arm. She explains that she tripped and fell the day before while working, but a broken wrist hasn't stopped her returning to the kitchen.
I promise God, as long as my feet move and my legs move, I didn't mention my head.
Having worked for the state of New York for 37 years, Georgianna has spent her retirement setting up and running the soup kitchen to provide hot, balanced meals, along with a side of helping of dignity and self-worth. Impressed with the respect she has earned in both the kitchen and dining room, Robert clearly wants to give Georgianna all the practical help he can to assist her in achieving her goals. Plus, he decides that as an act of thanksgiving, he will be giving her the day off and cooking dinner himself. Checking out the broken, outdated, and extremely limited kitchen equipment, Chef Irvine is ready to roll his sleeves up and get to work making French fries. And get some unexpected advice from the head chef.
Shake it off good so the flour won't settle in the bottom, do it to start tasting burnt. Oh, you a cook, you know, right?
Robert laughs and says he loves it. He's never been told what to do in the kitchen before. Robert's respect for the volunteer is clear, describing her as an amazing woman. He lays off the salt on her orders, despite not completely agreeing with her French fries seasoning. Having experienced the difficulty of preparing food in such a limited area, Robert asks Georgianna how he can help. She requests ovens, storage, and a larger workspace for the kitchen team.
It's amazing to me what food can go out of this kitchen with such bad equipment.
Robert takes a look at what a guest at the soup kitchen would currently get to eat. Canned applesauce, a chopped salad, donated soup, canned green beans with fried chicken and potatoes. For dessert, a store has donated cake that is damaged but is still sweet and tasty. He is sure that with better equipment, Miss Georgianna would be able to do more with the ingredients she is given. As the guests eat, Robert gets valuable feedback from the visitors. They share what it means to be made to feel welcome and part of a community by the volunteers. But the dining room itself is old and tired, despite the basic attempts that have been made to brighten it up.
So if you're depressed when you come in, you're probably even more depressed.
It's time to meet the designer, Nicole, who will help Robert to transform this space. Noting that she has literally nothing to work with other than a few pieces of mismatched furniture, Nicole is relieved that the building has retained some of its original architecture, which she can use to bring life and personality back to the room. It certainly doesn't resemble the restaurant dining rooms that she usually works on. In the kitchen, the broken equipment stands on a buckled floor, under a damaged ceiling. It's time for construction manager Tom Burry to take a look. Robert promises him $7,000 from the $10,000 budget to transform the kitchen, which must cover all new equipment along with repairing the fire damage. That leaves the designer with just $3,000 to work with, which will also be tough. But Robert points out that Georgianna works miracles every day, so they just need to do the same. They get to work. Vesta brings in a team of volunteers who help to remove the old chairs and tables, along with the artificial flowers. With so little furniture, the dining room is cleared in minutes, and the kitchen equipment comes out almost as quickly. Surveying the now empty room, Vesta and Miss Georgiana leave to let the transformation begin. In the kitchen, Tom reveals that he is local to the area and has a contact who sells kitchen equipment and might be able to give them some good deals. They visit the showroom and negotiate a 6-ring burner with a couple of ovens and a flat top for $2,000. They then find warmers, cabinets, and shelves that have scratches and other superficial damage, and again negotiate a great price. Finally, Robert persuades the owner to throw in an $1,800 fryer unit for free. With the final addition of some new pots, pans, and utensils, they have everything they need, and all under budget. When the kitchen equipment is delivered, an unexpected issue arises. They can't find a way to fit the large ovens through the doorway into the kitchen. That's not a problem for Robert Irvine, though. It just means that the doorway must go.
Why don't we just, do this? No, it's just a lot of work. It's what?
With kitchen entry organized, the team carefully maneuver the oven down the steps, where it stays, stuck fast. As the side gets knocked off and the back gets bashed against railings, I'm sure Robert is pleased he chose a pre-scratched option, instead of paying premium prices for a flawless finish. Finally, after 30 minutes, a team of 9 manages to move it successfully into the building, closely followed by the other new equipment. But they can't put it in the kitchen because that dangerous floor is still being replaced. So it stays in the dining room, where the frustrated designer was hoping to get started. Water damage from the fire had warped the plywood underneath the flooring, so the team removes the rotten boards to give a smooth base for the new, durable floor tiles they were planning to install. While she can't get into the dining room, the designer goes on the hunt around the huge property. She finds a few frames that she can repurpose to house a collage of photos taken around the building to document the transformation day. As the kitchen area gets marked out, they find space for a new worktop, along with a safe area for the fryers, warmer, and professional 3-compartment sink. Additionally, new refrigerators and freezer and a central workspace make sure the kitchen flows efficiently. Settling in for a long night, walls and ceilings are renewed and replaced, and pre-existing cabinets are mounted. With the floor finished, the equipment is put into position at 5 a.m., and Robert gets to work cleaning every inch of it. Upstairs, Vesta has arranged a visit from the local mayor, Cory Booker, who visits the new kitchen and is impressed at the team's speed.
You are like a hurricane of heroic hope. I mean, that's unbelievable. This looks like it was something that would take months to do.
The mayor has a challenge for Robert: to double the number of people he plans to feed at his Thanksgiving meal the next day. That's 300 mouths to feed across 2 venues. The chef is up for the challenge, as long as he can bring in a team of reinforcements to help. It's time to reveal the new kitchen to Vesta and Miss Georgiana. As they open their eyes, the tearful volunteers are clearly overwhelmed, taking in every detail with huge smiles and hugs. Along with the ovens, fryers, refrigerators, freezer, shelving, and extra work surfaces critical for food preparation, Robert has provided large food service containers to make distributing meals quicker and easier, even if guest numbers grow. It's time for Robert to create a Thanksgiving feast, and he's going to do it using only the donated ingredients the charity would usually have at its disposal. Extra help is at hand, though, with 2 familiar faces from his Dinner Impossible days here to take the extra strain. With just 5 hours to go until dinner time, Robert heads off to the food bank of New Jersey to collect the day's food for both St. James Soup Kitchen and the community center where the second service is taking place. The huge facility provides food for hundreds of agencies in the area. The chefs only take what they would usually be given, from tins of tomatoes to boxes of apples. But there's no protein available, so they quickly pick up 15 hams and 14 turkeys to add to their donated haul. And with only 3 hours to go, they need to cook the turkeys fast. They use an idea from their time on Dinner Impossible: trash can turkeys, which take just 90 minutes to cook per bird. Heading back to the kitchen, Robert discovers that the dining room is still not finished. The kitchen has taken extra time and manpower, so the designer is now working to an even tighter deadline. The kitchen is buzzing, with chefs whipping up sage and onion stuffing and peach and cranberry sauce to go with the trash can turkeys. Robert doesn't even have time to shout at the contractors in the dining room. Well, maybe just once.
Hey, what are you doing bringing that through the kitchen?
The hams are sliced, vegetables are fried, fruit crumble is assembled, and 150 meals are placed in containers to be sent to the community center. Part 1 of the mission is complete. Before they can deliver part 2, the dining room still needs to be finished, and they have only 25 minutes to do it. Following a frantic final push, chairs and tables are positioned, and the dining room can be revealed to Vesta and Miss Georgina. The mismatched, depressing furniture is gone. Secondhand chairs have been revamped with a lick of paint, and a long plywood worktop has been added to create counter seating for an extra 15 people. Bright white walls and tabletops give a crisp and clean finish, and the framed photo collages add personality to the space. The dining room is now a welcoming and inviting area to enjoy a good meal. As a stream of hungry diners arrive, they are welcomed by a delighted Miss Georgina, who can't wait to show them how their home away from home has changed. The team delivers another 150 plates of hot food to the visitors, who happily enjoy their Thanksgiving feast. Back in the kitchen, nothing is wasted, with turkey carcasses stored to create stocks or soups. A delighted Vesta is full of hope for the future.
Things are going to be so much better.
In an update 2 months later, Miss Georgina was finding it easier and quicker to feed her guests. So mission accomplished for Robert. Within days of the episode airing in November 2011, viewers were treated to a behind-the-scenes look at the designer's work. Sharing photos on her Facebook page, Nicole posted details of the chairs she purchased for $140, before painting them to give the dining room a more modern feel. What a transformation! And we can see how she managed to stick to her budget with such great deals before going on behind the scenes. An outside area was set up for her design assistants to put together the new dining tables, and the assortment of frames she found in the building are laid out ready to be filled with photos. Her behind-the-scenes, before and after photos are a reminder of the huge transformation she managed to pull off on a really tight budget. The kitchen transformation is also documented on her Facebook page, with a photo of the walls and ceilings being prepped and painted ready for the new equipment to be installed. And we can even get a glimpse of the moment before the great reveal to Vesta and Miss Georgina, with cameras poised to capture their reactions. The episode quickly became a viewer favorite, with the lovable Miss Georgie warming the hearts of everyone who watched. And it wasn't just the viewers who were affected by their story. In a 2014 news article, construction manager Tom mentioned St. James Soup Kitchen as one of the episodes that was particularly special for him. In the years that followed, it seems that the soup kitchen was doing well under Vesta's watchful eye. St. James Community Service Corps teamed up with Why Hunger and MEND to mark National Hunger Awareness Month in 2013. Together, they provided 2,500 meals in a single day for hungry visitors. That just wouldn't have been possible without their newly refurbished kitchen. And their work was supported by a number of private donors and agencies, including the County of Essex, who gave them a community development grant totaling $65,000 in 2016 for a rehabilitation project. From the program's social media pages, we get a glimpse of the kitchen and dining room in use, and they are obviously still busy spaces buzzing with activity. Sadly, Miss Georgie's health wouldn't allow her to continue her work at her beloved soup kitchen. Now rebranded as the Christian Cafe Soup Kitchen, she retired in 2013, becoming their chef emeritus. A few years later, in March 2018, St. James Church announced that Miss Georgina had passed away peacefully at the age of 88. She left behind 2 children, 8 grandchildren, and 7 great-grandchildren, as well as her heartbroken St. James family and friends. And it left a huge hole in the kitchen at St. James. Her shoes would definitely be very difficult to fill. In August 2020, Robert Irvine has a virtual catch-up in the middle of the COVID pandemic to find out how the soup kitchen is coping during such difficult times. Vesta reveals that after the Restaurant Impossible episode aired, St. James Social Service Corps raised around $20,000 and donations continue to flood in.
We still ride on the Restaurant Impossible episode. I'm like, we're gonna ride with that forever and ever.
They are now covering 2 meals a day, helping them to reach at least 300 people. As the pandemic continued to cause job losses in the city, those numbers were growing. Plus, the meals had to be served outdoors, with only staff entering the kitchen and dining room.
We talk about heroes in the military, but we have so many heroes that are taking this COVID on the chin. You're one of them.
The team were managing to stay safe and keep their hungry visitors nourished, even if they had to wait in line in the rain. Vesta later told ABC News that despite being unable to pay staff when the pandemic first caused a shutdown, they went on to serve over 30,000 people over a 3-month period. And in November 2021, 10 years after Robert Irvine cooked Thanksgiving dinner in the brand new kitchen, St. James Soup Kitchen, now rebranded again to Soul Food Cafe Soup Kitchen, was able to feed 325 families thanks to generous donations and improved facilities. The Soup Kitchen continues to serve an average of 125 people each day with well-balanced and nutritious meals, even without the chef who was its heart and soul. And as for Vesta, well, she and her team seem to be keeping the good vibes flowing while they do their good work. Vesta remains happily married to her husband, a minister, and recently celebrated her 20-year wedding anniversary. Under her leadership, the social outreach ministry has grown from 2 programs to 10 emergency services, supporting more than 30,000 people with every need covered, from food and clothing to HIV testing. She has received awards for her work at St. James, including the 2018 NAACP Faith-Based Service Award. And most importantly, she seems to be loving life and making the best of her downtime away from her responsibilities at the church. Reviews from service users are mixed, with the food generally getting a good rating, though some mention that staff sometimes seem to be having an off day, and others are even more blunt, calling out rudeness from staff, including the program director. One thing's for sure, helping this many people every day takes strength and patience, along with a great team. And luckily, Vesta seems to have all 3. It's particularly tough when the building continues to let you down. We've already seen what water damage can do to the building, but we're sure Vesta can handle it. It may be created from dented tin cans and dented equipment, but the food produced by the Soup Kitchen is still sustaining hungry Newark families and handing out hope with every bowl. Long may that continue.